Crisis Act, but it managed to pass in a House subcommittee. The bill is to make for major reforms to mental health care that many say the system itself is flawed and needs to be changed. But why 11 hours of debate? Why hasn't this happened already? Critics of the bill say they're going to take away rights from patients suffering from mental illness. They'll chill treatment even more by eliminating privacy protection that's supposed to be granted to all patients in the form of the HIPAA laws. Here now is the bill's sponsor, Pennsylvania Congressman Tim Murphy. He's got a lot of co-sponsors also, and he is a co-chair of the Congressional Mental Health Caucus. Congressman, open disclosure, we have been dialoguing about this bill for a long time. It seems like an objective good. It has its naysayers. They do focus on the issue of privacy, that if you are to erode any of the protections, people will seek care even less, that mentally ill shouldn't, just because they're mentally ill, have their information free to their families or anyone else. It's a slippery slope. Make the case.
Well, it's absurd. Look, the issue is when a parent is trying to find out why their son or daughter just tried to commit suicide or why they're having other problems, and doctors cannot even engage in any compassionate communication to tell family members what happened, why someone with schizophrenia is getting worse, that they may have diabetes, they may have heart disease. We have closed the door so much under this perverted guise that somehow the best a person can ever be is what they are, and that a family member cannot help. It's gone too far. All we're asking for is the ability to have compassionate communication between a doctor and a caregiver when that person with serious mental illness is in this downward spiral of decay and oftentimes living their own filth and squalor. Can't we find some way engaging the family back in? And when it comes to rights, I go back to this point of Adam Lanza, who did the shootings at Sandhook Elementary School. We talk about his rights to be sick. Shouldn't we be talking about the rights of those children to make it beyond kindergarten and go to first grade, or the people to feel safe in a theater in Aurora, Colorado, or on a campus in California? We need to be talking about a person's right to get well and not just their right to be sick.
How would this bill stop someone like a Lanza?
It would stop them because it invests a lot of action, a lot of money and programs in identifying someone early on, particularly in the phases of life when they're most at risk for serious mental illness. At age 14, 50% of cases. By age 24, 75% of cases. Invest dollars in real mental health intervention. The federal government's been spending billions over the years in silly programs that have nothing to do with serious mental illness. So it would do that. It would also allow 2 doctors to see someone in the same day. It's even absurd that we have to argue that point. More hospital beds for those who are seriously mentally ill. More research in the area of serious mental illness. But notice what I'm saying. We have funding in there to handle the whole spectrum of issues, but get out of the areas of behavioral wellness and more into helping those who are ill. And this issue of being able to have some communication with a family member is very important, particularly given this idea. When you're dealing with someone with mental illness such as schizophrenia or bipolar, their way of viewing, their way of thinking is very different. It's not the same as talking to someone who is of sound mind.
Well, look, there are going to be people who are surprised to hear this bill is being held up. If anything, it seems like politicians are blaming the mental health community too much for violence in this country. I mean, you know very well, and you should know at home, Representative Tim Murphy is not just a politician. He was a clinician. He understands this area. He treats people. So, of course, the mentally ill are less likely to be perpetrators of crime than the rest of the population. They're more likely to be victims. We know all those things, but it seems like the political will is there to make a difference. We hear it every time there's a mass shooting. But then this bill, you keep calling me and saying I can't get my bill done. Where's the disconnect?
Well, the disconnect is I think people still want to block these issues. 83% of the American public say in order to stop some of these shootings, we need to be addressing this as a mental health issue and not just be talking about guns. Let's talk about what's in their heads and not just what's in their hands. We recognize a person who is seriously mentally ill is 15 times less likely to be involved in an act of violence if they are in treatment. That's what we have to do.
That's the if.
But
if they're in treatment.
if they're in treatment. And that means more treatment opportunities. And sometimes, Chris, it really is a matter of providing those services. But in some cases, you have to compel that person to be in treatment. That means sometimes inpatient and sometimes outpatient treatment. And that's another area, too, where people say, well, we shouldn't ever be coercing people into treatment. The Navy Yard shootings would never have happened if the people at the hospitals and the police who were involved with that perpetrator would have said, this guy needs to get help. States like yours in New York has an excellent program for that.
Congressman, we've said it before, we'll say it again. Some people say it's playing politics when you get involved with these bills, but this seems like an objective need. It seems to come up again and again. We will stay on the story. Please, sir, let us know how the fight goes.
Thank you. We'll keep working it.